All right, guys, welcome to Take Your Base. I'm your host, Flav Orellana. All right, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. All right, guys, this is our baseball show, and what a day today. But first, it's a Saturday, in our country because it's the 19th anniversary of 9/11. Now, I don't want to talk too much about it just because of the fact that this day hits everybody differently. It's not a positive day by any means necessary, but you know, um, it's a day that we'll never forget. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But today we had a bunch of games in the sport of baseball, and wow! All right, so we're gonna kick it off with what's been going on. It's currently going on right now. I believe it's going into the ninth inning. The New York Mets and the Buffalo Blue Jays. Yes, I said the Buffalo Blue Jays because they're currently playing in Buffalo. They're not playing in Toronto. They had not playing in Toronto for at all this year. Maybe next year they'll play, but as of this year, we're gonna call them the Buffalo Blue Jays. So yeah, wow. The run scoring the Mets ended up giving Jacob deGrom. See, like Jacob deGrom in years past never had any type of run support. How about 17 runs of run support? You got the best pitcher in baseball, and there is no debate about that whatsoever. There was a debate in New York, was Garrett Cole or Jacob deGrom being the best pitcher in baseball, best pitcher in New York? That is not the case, all right? Garrett Cole has went, and Jacob deGrom has been all the way, surging. We're talking about this guy might being one of the best pitchers of this generation, all right? This guy's is trying to compete for his third Cy Young in a row. Not so many people can say that they won 3 Cy Youngs in a row. Not even 2, let alone 1. This guy's trying to go. This guy already has back-to-back Cy Youngs. He's trying to go for a third Cy Young in a row. All right. So the Blue Jays ended up scoring first at the bottom of the first inning, but once the third inning came about, it was game over. Baseball, I know some people have been saying, baseball should have a mercy rule because a couple of days ago, the Atlanta Braves ended up beating the Miami Marlins 29-9. Now, some people were debating on Twitter, baseball should have a mercy rule. No. You know what? Your guys are professionals. This is not Little League or anything like that. If you want to have a mercy rule, go play in a different league. Go play in a different league. This is the Major League Baseball. We don't do mercy rules at all. We don't. All right. So we're gonna talk about this 17-1 scenery. So Dominic Smith hits a grand slam in that 10-run that 10-run fourth inning. You got Dominic Smith hitting a grand slam. Wilson Ramos with a solo home run. Jeff McNeil with an RBI. It was a 3-run double by Wilson Ramos. 10 Mets batters ended up going around in the fourth inning. And, to me, this was an important game because, yes, the Mets are in a battle trying to get into the playoffs. There's no reason why the Mets should be battling to try to get into the playoffs because the Mets have a good squad. It's just whatever reason it is. Baseball can expand it to like 20 teams, and yet the Mets will still find to make it harder for themselves to try to make the playoffs. But with that being said, I felt like this is an important game because of its 9/11. Back in 2001, the first game being played in New York was between the Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets. And the most historic moment, I believe, in Mike Piazza's career was him hitting that go-ahead run, beating the Atlanta Braves, the first game back since 9/11. And that memory will sit with me for the rest of my life. And fast forward 19 years later, you got the Mets against the Blue Jays, and the Mets are going on a spanking. 17-1, going into the top of the ninth inning. Who knows if the Mets are going to score more runs? Jacob deGrom, as usually, stellar, pitched, I think it was to the 6th inning, with like 9 Ks, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I just want to, 9 Ks over 6. Come on, who does stuff like that consistently? This is not something that he does every once in a while. He does this stuff consistently. All right, moving on. As of right now, Philly's at Miami. Right now, Miami has his bases loaded with no outs. They're up 2-1. Nobody thought Miami was going to be this good. They're a 500 team. They're 20-20. Nobody thought Philly was going to be this good. 22-19. Both squads are, I think, as of right now, currently in the playoffs. If the season was to end, 2020 has been a very bizarre year, and to think that the fourth place Phillies of last year and the doormat of the NL East, the Miami Marlins, are actually doing well. As of right now, Atlanta is facing Washington. They're at Washington right now. The score is 7-7 at the top of the 10th inning. Atlanta has a runner on third with 2 outs, and the call is 1-2, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Travis d'Arnaud has had, I want to say, like a very interesting year, interesting career, because he didn't do squat for the Mets, does well for the Rays, goes to the Braves, and look at him now. Hits a game-tying single at the top of the third. Not top of the third, top of the 9th inning to extend it to extend it to extra innings. Boston and Tampa. The Red Sox have had a horrible year. Yes, you didn't have Eduardo Rodriguez. You ended up trading away Mookie Betts, who's possibly the second best player in the majors. Traded away David Price. David Price doesn't even play for the Dodgers this year because of the whole COVID situation, because we're in this pandemic. And they're facing a team who could possibly win the whole thing in the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa is up right now 9-0. They lost yesterday. They're like, no, we're not losing again to Boston. All right. Boston doesn't beat anybody outside of the Mets for whatever reason it is. Yeah, Tampa scored a run in the second, a run in the third, 2 runs in the fourth, a run in the sixth, and then ended up scoring 4 runs at the bottom of the 7th inning. Yeah, you got Yoshi. I can't even pronounce his name. I'm gonna call him. Yeah, Yoshi hit a solo home run. Nate Lowe's hit his second home run of the game. He had 2 home runs in the game. Yoshi with another RBI single. The Rays, they just have very good hitters. They're not all-stars. They just do their job. Like what the great Bill Belichick says, do your job. Pirates, worst team in baseball, facing the Royals, who are not much better than the Pirates. Pirates have a record of 14-27. The Royals have a record of 17-28. Not that much of a better record than one another. Alberto Mondesi hits a solo home run. Pirates are up 3-1 over. Royals are up 3-1 over the Pirates. The class of the AL, the Oakland A's versus the Texas Rangers. Oakland is just beating up on the Rangers. 8-1. Oakland, as of right now, are 27-15, and the Rangers 15-28. Matt Olson, home runs in back-to-back games. Matt Olson hit a grand slam. Sean Murphy with a 464 home run. Wow, that's some real pop right there. And then you got Tommy La Stella. What Tommy La Stella does well, RBI singles. Oakland's up 8-1, halfway through the 5th inning. Cleveland and Minnesota. Both teams are battling to see who could gain the crown for the AL Central. As of right now, in the bottom of the 4th inning, Twins are up 2-0, due to a Byron Buxton 2-run home run. Right now we currently got a no-hitter going on. in Chicago. This time it's not the Chicago White Sox. No, it's not it's not what's his name? Lucas Giolito pitching. You got what's it called from the Detroit Tigers? Matt Mize. No, I don't know. Yeah, Lucas Giolito is pitching. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Mize or what's his name? Casey Mees. If I'm saying it correctly, yeah, Lucas Giolito is not pitching another no hitter. It's actually the opposite time. It's now Detroit. Casey Mees is, as of right now, in the bottom of the 6th inning in Chicago with a no hitter as we speak. Detroit is up 3-0. Daz Cameron with a 2-run single, and Jorge Bonifacio hits a sac fly, giving the Detroit Tigers their only 3 runs of the game as we speak right now. Cubs and Brewers. Cubs are at Milwaukee right now. That game is zip. John Lester is pitching. Cincinnati versus I'm about to say Arizona Cardinals. I'm just thinking of football at this very moment right now. I'm sorry, guys. Cincinnati versus St. Louis. Cincinnati's up 3-1. Joey Votto hits a 442-foot home run. And yes, the Reds are currently now winning right now in St. Louis. Angels and Rockies. It's tied now 2-2 at the top of the 5th inning. Justin Upton hit an RBI single. Got Charlie Blackmon, scoring a sac fly. Well, hitting a sac fly, scoring a run for Colorado. Trevor Story with an RBI double. And Jared Walsh scores on an error. So that's that for you right there. And you got the Mariners and the D-backs. Mariners are in Arizona. Christian Walker, the South Carolina alum, hits the RBI triple for Arizona, along with Eduardo Escobar's, sac fly, giving the D-backs a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the 1st inning. Yankees and Orioles, they had a doubleheader today. For makeup, Garrett Cole finally ends his losing streak. He goes 5-3 against Alex Cobb of the Baltimore Orioles. Garrett Cole improves, 5-3 with a 3.2 ERA. Alex Cobb has a 1-4 record of a ERA of 5.03. Horrible. The Orioles got proven they are who they are who they thought they were. I'm thinking of Coach Dennis Green's line. Sorry guys for that stutter. And then you got the other game that was being pitched today by Tanaka. Tanaka ended up winning his game 2-2. He had the ERA of 2-2 with a 3.6 ERA. Yankees won 10-1 in that game. There was no competition whatsoever. Again, Luke Voigt with a 2-run home run. Miguel Andujar with a 2-run double. What's it called? Luke Voigt's second home run. He hit a second home run that game. Ridiculous. And I'm sorry. And I also forgot that the Phillies and Marlins played earlier as well. Phillies ended up winning 11-0. Aaron Nola pitched a stellar game, improving his record to 5-3 with a 2.40 ERA. Rhys Hoskins hit a 3-run home run. The Phillies ended up scoring a barrage of runs in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning, scoring 4 runs in the 3rd, 5 runs in the 4th, and then 2 runs in the 5th. And Miami only getting as much as 3 hits in the game. Padres and Giants game got postponed. Yeah, and that is a rundown as of right now for today's games in baseball. But MLB Network ended up releasing about the award races that are happening as of right now. And as for MVP, there's 4 players, 2 players from each league that are getting like significant, recognition. So for the AL, of course, you got the best player in baseball as usual. Is always talked about in this conversation. And you know who I'm talking about right now. It is Mike Trout, best player in baseball. Of course, he is so far leading the way in votes. I'm essentially winning another MVP award for the AL. But right behind him is a surging hot, superstar in Cleveland, Shane Bieber. And Shane Bieber has been killing it. If it wasn't for Jacob deGrom right now, He'll be possibly talked about as the best pitcher in baseball, at least for this year. But Shane Bieber has been killing it as of right now. He's looked upon as possibly getting an MVP. All right. As for the NL, you got Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, who would have thought this? If this kid did not get injured last year, we're talking about him possibly winning Rookie of the Year. But he ended up getting hurt, and he at one point was challenging Pete Alonso for winning Rookie of the Year. His injury derailed that. But, who needs Rookie of the Year when you're in the voting of possibly getting an MVP at such an early age into his career? He has 40-plus RBIs. He is killing it for the Padres. He is the leader in that clubhouse. That he's willing them into possibly getting into the playoffs for the first time in 14 years. 14 years ago, last time they got into the playoffs, Trevor Hoffman was their closer. Last time they were in the playoffs, Adrian Gonzalez was their first baseman. I can't remember who their catcher was at that time. Brian Giles was the right fielder for them. That was 14 years ago. A lot has changed. But yeah, San Diego might be looking at a potential, playoff spot, a playoff clinching within the next, week or two at the rate that they're playing. They're not that far back from the best team in baseball, which is the Dodgers. And yeah, Fernando Tatis is the leader right now, helping the Padres, get into the playoffs. And right behind him in votes is none other than the former Red Sox player who currently plays for the LA Dodgers, Mookie Betts. Now, the Dodgers knew what they were doing on giving away Alex Verdugo for Mookie Betts. Now, they gave away, obviously, like minor league prospects and I believe draft picks, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And the Dodgers ended up trading Mookie Betts and David Price as just like a throw-in at that point, because they're just trying to do a whole new rebuild. But Dodgers look really scary this year. Do I think they're going to win it all this year? No. For some reason, I feel like the Dodgers are cursed with not being able to get it all in there. They had 1 year once they faced the Astros, the Trash Bangers. Another year that they faced the Red Sox. Do I feel like they'll be able to win it all again this year with Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler? I think is Dustin Mays as your I think third or fourth pitcher. I don't know. Possibly. It just depends on if these bats are going to come clicking come playoff time. I could easily see like the Atlanta Braves knocking them out, because I feel like Atlanta's pitching staff works well against the lineup of the LA Dodgers. But we'll see. Who do I think should be MVP for this year? Well, we're going off of these four candidates. 2 from the AL, 2 from the NL. I'm really thinking that Fernando Tatis Jr. definitely does deserve MVP over Mookie Betts. Nobody really expected Fernando Tatis Jr. to ascend to the superstar level that he's going to be. And going into his second year, it's pretty remarkable that he's already putting up these numbers. Sure, we're in this 60-game season, and if you want to average this out into a 162-game season, these numbers are going to look astronomical. But what Fernando Tatis Jr. is doing, it's incredible right now. I'm giving him the nod as of right now, the early pick for NL MVP. And as for the AL, it's unfortunate because Mike Trout's been doing this, this level of play for quite some time. But Shane Bieber, I'm a big fan of pitchers, truly am. What Shane Bieber is doing, I think you can't stop that right now. He's wheeling his way to going and taking the Cleveland Indians into the playoffs. Mind you, Cleveland traded away about a week ago Mike Clevinger towards the San Diego Padres. All right, Mike Clevinger. They didn't trade away Shane Bieber. They traded Mike Clevinger, who is another great pitcher from that Indian rotation. All right, I felt like the Indians had like a very nasty rotation. If they would have imagine if they had kept Trevor Bauer, this year Shane Bieber, and Mike Clevinger, Cleveland would have been unstoppable. But they traded away, Bauer last year. They traded away Clevinger this year. Hopefully they don't trade away Bieber next year. Yeah, Shane Bieber is an absolute stud. Nobody can mess with him. This guy has filthy stuff. This guy reminds me of, sort of like a Pedro Martinez type of pitcher. This guy's unstoppable right now. And I'm giving him right now the early AL MVP lead over Mike Trout, only because Mike Trout has been doing this for so long, right? And you kind of want fresh faces, to win the award. This is kind of what Mike Trout is doing right now is like kind of like the Jordan syndrome. Jordan kind of, always dominated, but they didn't want to give him the MVP every single year just because like they wanted somebody else to get it. Same thing with Mike Trout. But yeah, that's what they had as the candidates for early MVP as of right now. But we'll see. And as of right now, as we speak, the standings, like if the season was to end, as for the AL, the A's are the number 1 seed, leading the way over the Rays by like half a game. This is only due to a win percentage. The A's have a 27-15 record. The Rays are 28-16. The White Sox are 27-16, so not that much further. The Twins is 27-18. That's what I'm saying. Like this AL Central is pretty damn close. And then 5th seed is the Buffalo Blue Jays. I was just gonna say the Toronto Blue Jays, the Buffalo Blue Jays with a 24-19 record. The Houston Trash Bankers, the Houston Astros, are the 6th seed as of right now we speak. They're 22-23. How? Don't understand. Cleveland Indians, because they're the 3rd seed. They're 3rd in the division. They're the 7th seed. They're 26-18. It makes no sense. They should be above Houston since they have a better record. They should be above Buffalo since they have a better record than them. And lastly, the 8th seed is the Bronx Bombers, the New York Yankees. They have a 22-21 record. Barely afloat over the Orioles, the Tigers, the Mariners, and the Angels. As for the NL, the boys in blue in LA, the Dodgers, have the best record in baseball with a 32-13 record, a 7-11 win percentage. And then 2nd is the Atlanta Braves. 3rd is the Chicago Cubs. Who would have known that Chicago was going to have this good of a year? San Diego, another outlier. Wow, they are 29-17. You got the Philadelphia Phillies, who I predicted them to be 4th place again. But when you have Joe Girardi out there, it just seems like they know what they're doing. They're 21-19. Cardinals, them even after being out for like 3 weeks, they still find a way of them being in contention of the playoffs with the 6th seed. They're 19-18. The Marlins, this is why, like I say, it's 2020 for you guys, because who would have said in a 162 game season, in a 60 game season that the Marlins would make it, right? 162, they definitely not making it. 60 game season, I guess anything is possible. They have a 20-19 record, just 1 game above 500. And the Giants, Mike Yastrzemski is doing this thing, and he's leading the way for the Giants. No Buster Posey, no problem. They got a 23-22 record. And then right behind the Giants is the Rockies, the Brewers, and the Mets. Right now, all battling in contention to get the final 8th seed for the MLB playoffs. Now, we only got about like 3 weeks left in the season. If I had to give like an early prediction on who's going to make it for the AL, because we'll start with the AL. I don't know if the Yankees find a way to fix up their mistakes, and not screw up, because they had a bad, 10-game stretch. Fine, they'll make it. But if the Orioles make it over the Yankees, you want to know how much buzz is going to be talked about in the Bronx? Mr. Bubblegum Chewer himself, Aaron Boone, is going to be kicked out if they don't make the playoffs this year. Because, this year was supposed to be championship or bust. All right, they were supposed to be competing for a championship. Everybody had predicted that it was going to be Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series. All right, is that the matchup that I wanted to see? No. But you know what? That was a more realistic lineup because you had Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gio Urshela, Gary Sanchez, Luke Voigt, Gleyber Torres, so on and so on. It was just like the Yankees have a loaded lineup, and then you spend all that money for Garrett Cole. Like, you're expected to at least get to the World Series and try to win the title. Now they're on the back end of possibly getting kicked out and not making the playoffs at all. So as of right now, I think the way that the ALCS is set up, I do have it like this. If anything, if I see like any other team, coming out of that final 8 seed, maybe the Orioles, because the Orioles have been playing decently well, but I still see the Yankees making it. I see the Indians, Astros, Blue Jays, Twins, definitely White Sox, definitely Rays, definitely A's, making the playoffs. As for the NL, we already know the Dodgers are making it. There's no way they'll not make the playoffs. Same thing with the Braves and Cubs and Padres. But then the final four slots, Philly, again, I was going to say Arizona, St. Louis Cardinals, Miami Marlins, and Giants. All those 4 teams, I feel like they could definitely be out of the playoffs in the next 3 weeks if they were to go on some type of a slump. The teams behind them, Rockies, Brewers, Mets, all have a possibility of making it. It's just depending on if they're going to be able to capitalize. I don't see the Giants making the playoffs just because of the fact that the Giants play in a tough division. They got to face the Dodgers. They'll face the Padres. Hold on. Let me double check before I can confirm with you guys. Yeah, they're facing the Padres. Padres, then they're going to face Oakland. Oh, no, Padres, then the 2-game series with Seattle on Tuesday and Wednesday. Next weekend they're facing a 3-game series with Oakland. Then they're going to go on a 4-game series with Colorado and then end the season on a 3-game series against San Diego. I don't see them winning it out. I really don't. It's going to be hard for them to keep that final spot. They got to make up also with the Padres as well. So, yeah, it's going to be really hard for, I feel like, the Giants to make it. As for... Hold on. I don't know why my screen is not working right now. As for the Marlins, they're another team that I feel like might have to run into some trouble because they're going to have to make up some games, if I'm not mistaken, because they probably didn't make up all these games that they were originally supposed to have. Yeah, so they're going to face Philly, Philly tomorrow, a doubleheader on Sunday, Philly on Monday. Then they're facing Boston on a 3-game series. 3-game series. Yeah, 3-game series. Then they're facing Washington for a total of 5 games, that of next weekend, 2 doubleheaders. Then they're facing Atlanta on a 3-game series. And then they're ending the season facing the Yankees. I just feel like that Miami's going to get burnt out with all these double headers that they're going to be facing. And there's no days off that they have, moving on forward. Everything is just back to 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 back. Yeah, so. And the final 7 games, they're going away. So, I don't know. I don't see that how Miami's able to capitalize. If I had to pick the substitutes that would be able to make the playoffs, I would, for the NL, for those final 2 spots, I could easily see Colorado and the Mets making the playoffs. Colorado getting the 7th seed, the Mets getting the 8th seed. So, yeah, no, I don't know. I just don't see how Miami and San Francisco being able to finish off the season, on where they're at in the last 7th and 8th seed. It's going to be really, really difficult. But this is the beauty of the 60-game season. We're probably never going to have something like this again. I kind of hope we have a shorter season moving on forward because 162 is pretty draining. But the only thing I will just say is that next year, I hope that we don't have this nonsense where we have a runner on second starting off extra innings. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Clayton Kershaw is right. That is not real baseball. We could stomach it for 1 year, but after that, kick that rule out. We never want to have this again. And as for the DH rule, I'm a guy that's a traditionalist, and that I kind of do want to have pitchers batting, but I kind of like the fact that we have a little bit more offense. A little bit more offense brings in more viewers. We want a more we want more viewers in baseball. Baseball is such an amazing sport. All right, it is America's national pastime for a reason, and who doesn't love offense, right? That's why they say chicks love the long ball. Come on. But that's all for this episode of Take Your Base. I'm your host Flav Orellana. All right, I will be having an episode every Thursday. I'm sorry that I didn't have an episode for you guys last week. Yesterday. All right, next week I'll have an episode for you guys on Thursday. All right, please watch our YouTube channel right here on Four Corner Sports NY. Follow us on Twitter. All right, and yeah, that's all pretty much it. All right, guys, you guys have a safe night. Enjoy the rest of these baseball games. All right, and I'll talk to you guys, another time. All right. Have a good night. Bye, guys.